I Am Joaquin, an epic poem from 1967 by Rudolfo Corky Gonzales. I am Joaquin, lost in a world of confusion, caught up in a whirl of a gringo society, confused by the rules, scorned by attitudes, suppressed by manipulations, and destroyed by modern society. My fathers have lost the economic battle and won the struggle of cultural survival. And now, I must choose between the paradox of victory of the spirit despite physical hunger, or to exist in the grasp of American social neurosis, sterilization of the soul, and a full stomach. Yes, I've come a long way to nowhere, unwillingly dragged by that monstrous technical industrial giant called progress and Anglo success. I look at myself, I watch my brothers, I shed tears of sorrow, I sow seeds of hate. I withdraw this to the safety within the circle of my life, my own people. I am Quaquetomelc, proud and noble, leader of men, king of an empire, civilized beyond the dreams of Joaquin Cortez, who is also the blood, the image of myself. I am the Maya prince. I am Nezahualcóyotl, the great leader of the Chimamecas. I am the sword and flame of Cortez, the despot. And I am the eagle and the serpent of the Aztec civilization. I own the land as far as I could see the crown of Spain, and I toiled on the earth, and gave the Indian sweat and blood for the Spanish master, who ruled with tyranny over man and beast and all that he could trample. But the ground was mine. I was both tyrant and slave, as Christian church took its place in God's good name to take use of my virgin strength and trusting faith. The priest, both good and bad, took, but gave a lasting truth that Spaniard, Indio, Mestizo were all God's children, and from these words grew men who prayed and fought for their own worth as human beings. For that golden moment of freedom, I was part in blood and spirit of that courageous village priest, Hidalgo, in the 1810, who rang the bell of independence and gave out that lasting cry, El grito de Dolores, que mueran los guapichinos y que viva la Virgen de Guadalupe. I sentenced him, who was me. I excommunicated him with my blood. I drove him from the pulpit to lead a bloody revolution for him and me. I killed him. His head, which was to mine and all those who had come this way, I placed on that fortress wall to wait for independence. Morelos, Matamoros, Guerrero, all compañeros in the act, stood against that wall of infamy to feel the hot gouge of lead which my hand made. I died with them. I lived with them. I lived to see our country free, free from Spanish rule in 1821. Mexico was free? The crown was gone, but all his parasites remained, and ruled and taught with gun and flame and mystic power. I worked, I sweat, I bled, I prayed, and waited silently for life to again commence. I fought and died for Don Benito Juarez, guardian of the Constitution. I was him on dusty roads, on barren land as he protected his archives, as Moses did his sacraments. He held his Mexico in his hand, on the most desolate and remote ground, which was his country, and this giant little Zapotec gave not one psalm's breath of his country to the kings or monarchs or presidents of foreign powers. I am Joaquin. I rode with Pancho Villa, crude and warm, a tornado at full strength, nourished and inspired by the passion and the fire of his earthly people. I am Emiliano Zapata. This land, this earth is ours. The village and mountains, the streams, belong to the Zapatistas. Our life, or yours, is the only trade for soft brown earth and maize, all of which is our reward. A creed that formed a constitution for all who dared live free. This land is ours. Father, I give it back to you. Mexico must be free. I ride with a revolutionist against myself. I am rural, coarse and brutal. I am the mountain Indian, superior over all. The thundering hoofbeats are my horses. The chattering of machine guns is death to all of me. Yaqui, Tamhumara, Chamula, Zapotec, Mestizo, Español. I have been the bloody revolution, the victor, the vanquished. I have killed and been killed. I am despots Diaz and Huerta, and the apostles of democracy, Francisco Madero. I am the black shawled faithful women who die with me, or live, depending on the time and place. I am faithful, humble Juan Diego, the Virgin of Guadalupe, Tonantzin, Aztec goddess too. I rode the mountains of San Joaquin. I rode as far east and north as the Rocky Mountains, and all men feared the guns of Joaquin Muriarta. I killed those men who dared steal my name, who raped and killed my wife. Then I killed to stay alive. I was Alfego Baca, living to my 9 lives fully. I was Espinosa brothers, of the Valle de San Luis. All were added to the number of heads that, in the name of civilization, were placed on the wall of independence. Heads of brave men who died for cause and principle, good or bad, Hidalgo, Zapata, Murrieta, Espinosa, are but a few. They dare to face the force of tyranny, of men who ruled by farce and hypocrisy. I stand here looking back, and now I see the present. And still, I am the campesino. I am the fat political coyote. I am the same name, Joaquin. In a country that was wiped out all my history, stifled all my pride, in a country that has placed a different weight of indignity upon my age-old burden back. Inferiority. In this new load, the Indian has endured, and still emerged the winner. The mestizo must yet overcome. The guapachino will just ignore. I look at myself and see part of me who rejects my father and my mother and dissolves into the melting pot, to disappear in shame. I sometimes sell my brother out and reclaim him for my own when society gives me token leadership in society's own name. I am Joaquin, who bleeds in many ways, the altars of Montezuma. I sustained a bloody red. My back of Indian slavery was stripped crimson from the whips of masters who would lose their blood so pure when revolution made them pay, standing against the walls of retribution. Blood had flowed from me on every battlefield, campesino, hacendao, slave and master, and revolution. I jumped from the tower of Chapultepec into the sea of flame, my country's flag, my burial shroud, with those niños whose pride and courage could not surrender with dignity their country's flag to strangers in their land. Now, I bleed in a smelly cell, from club or gun or tyranny. I bleed as the vicious gloves of hunger cut my face and eyes, as I fight my way from the stinking barrios to the glamour of the ring and the light of fame, or mutilated sorrow. My blood runs pure on ice-caked hills on the Alaskan Isles, on the corpse-strewn beach of Normandy, the foreign land of Korea and now Vietnam. Here I stand, before the court of justice, guilty, for all the glory of my raza, to be sentenced to despair. Here I stand, poor in money, arrogant with pride, bold in machismo, rich in courage, and wealthy in spirit and faith. My knees are caked with mud, my hands calloused from hoe. I have made an Anglo rich, and yet equality is but a word. The treaty of Hidalgo has been broken, and is but another treacherous promise. My land is lost and stolen. My culture has been raped. I lengthen the line at the welfare door, and fill the jars with crime. These, then, are my rewards, the society for the sons and chiefs of kings and bloody revolutionists who gave the foreign people all their skills and ingenuity to pave the way with brains and blood, for those hordes of gold-starved strangers who chased our language and plagiarized our deeds as feats of valors of their own. They frowned upon our way of life and took what they could use, our art, our literature, our music. They ignored so they left the real things of value and grabbed at their own destruction by their greed and avarice. They overlooked the cleansing fountain of mature and brotherhood, which is Joaquin. The art of our great señores, Diego Rivera, Sinqueros, Orozco, is but another act of revolution for the salvation of mankind. Mariachi music, the heart and soul of the people of the earth, the life of a child, the happiness of love. The corridos tell the tales of life and death, of tradition, legends old and new, of joy and passion and sorrow, of the people who I am. I am in the eyes of a woman sheltered beneath her shawl of black, deep and sorrowful eyes that bear the pain of sons long buried, of dying, dead, on the battlefield of the barbed wire of social strife. Her rosary she prays and fingers endlessly, like the family, working down a row of beads to turn around and work and work. There is no end. Her eyes are a mirror of all the warmth and all the love for me. I am her, and she is me. We face life together in sorrow, anger, joy, faith, and wishful thoughts. I shed tears of anguish as I see my children disappear behind the shroud of mediocrity. I never look back to remember me. I am Joaquin. I must fight and win the struggle for my sons, and they must know me for who I am. Part of the blood that runs deep in me could not be vanquished by the Moors. I defeated them after 500 years, and I endured. The part of the blood that is mine has labored endlessly for 500 years under the heel of lustful Europeans. I am still here. I have endured in the rugged mountains of our country. I have survived the toils and slavery of the fields. I have existed in the barrios of the city, in the suburbs of bigotry, in the mines of social snobbery, in the prisons of dejection, in the muck of exploitation, and in the fierce heat of racial hatred. And now the trumpet sounds. The music of the people stirs the revolution. Like a sleeping giant, it slowly rears its head to the sound of tramping feet, clamoring voices, mariachi strains, fiery tequila explosions, the smell of chile verde, and soft brown eyes of expectations for a better life. And in all the fertile farmlands, the barren plains, the mountain villages, smoke-smeared cities, we start to move. La raza, Mexicano, Español, Latino, Hispano, Chicano, or whatever I call myself, I look the same, I feel the same, I cry, and I sing the same name as a mass of all the people, and I refuse to be absorbed. I am Joaquin. The odds are great, but my spirit is strong, my faith unbreakable, my blood is pure. I am the Aztec prince and the Christian Christ. I shall endure. I will endure.